Welcome back to the A-Game. I'm Noah C. Cornelius. History was made this past weekend when College Game Day on ESPN came to Boone, North Carolina for the very first time. Another miracle for the Mountaineers happened this past Saturday when the Troy Trojans came to town and kicked off conference play. Women's soccer also had their first test in conference play this past weekend, and we'll see how they tested and more coming to you now on the A-Game.
College Game Day came to Boone for the first time in its history. The crew set up on Sanford Mall to preview Week 3 of the college football season, and specifically the Mountaineers versus the Troy Trojans.
Your App State football team once again found themselves being on top of the college football world this past weekend. The Mountaineers won their game off a tipped Hail Mary touchdown from Christian Horn to defeat the Troy Trojans by a score of 32-28.
Both women's soccer and field hockey had their first conference matchups this season. Now, guys, what do you think after that crazy Hail Mary win against Troy?
Well, I guess I'll lead off here. Wow.
Holy mother meatball.
Yeah, sure. If you want to say that, that's how I put it. But it was truly a crazy experience. It wasn't just a football game at the end of the day. It was just a crazy life experience. I was lucky enough to be on the call for WASU. We posted our clip. It did well, but that's not the story. Christian Horn, what an unbelievable play by him to have the wherewithal to look for the football, catch it off a bounce, and then loop around a defender, loop around a number of defenders to score a touchdown. But that play is not made without Caden Robinson, the wide receiver, who set the edge on that right side after he found out that Christian Horn caught the ball. The end of the game was poorly mismanaged by Troy. Specifically, they went and took the safety, which, it didn't really hurt them that much in the end. But if App State's 3 plays with 20 seconds left go a little bit differently, Michael Hughes could be the hero with a long field goal, or he could be the scapegoat after missing a long kick. But Chase, the history behind this game is going to be incredible. It's a historic moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was what a start for the season for the Mountaineers, dude. I mean, we went from 63-61 versus Carolina, a game that App State would have won if Chase Bryce and Deshaun Davis connected on what would for them be a routine 2-point play, to going to Texas A&M and beating them in College Station, to winning a game on a Hail Mary that didn't even reach the end zone, that had to get tipped back and caught and ran in.
Right.
The craziest part, dude, is it looks like we practiced that.
We have.
Yeah. Like, Christian Horn knew exactly what he was doing when he was snaking behind the play. He went right where the ball was going to be tipped, caught it. Caden Robinson, as you mentioned earlier, made an amazing block. And that set the edge for Christian Horn, and it made him a campus legend. I mean, everybody in that stadium before that play felt like we blew the game. Mm-hmm. Whether it was the long clock-chewing drive that stalled on 4th and goal, to the first 3 plays, as you mentioned, where we could have gotten to field goal range and won the game, and there were 3 incompletions, including a drop. But yeah, it was just an insane start to this season, man.
I'm glad they put me as moderator because I totally blew out my voice. It's funny.
Oh.
Yeah, see?
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. It was going to happen eventually. It's funny because I stayed up 33 hours camping out on the lawn to go to College Game Day. I was there, but I was so tired. I left shortly before Luke Combs got there. So I was sleeping, and I woke up 2 minutes before the game ended. And I was like, okay, well, we're going to lose. I went to sleep because I thought it was going to be a blowout because, I mean, look, Troy is very bad. So with 2 minutes left in the game, I woke up. I saw Chase Bryce make the pass. I thought, okay, it's going to get batted down. So when Christian Horn made the pass, Caden Robinson made the clutch block. Shout out Caden Robinson again. And then when he ran into the end zone, I got up out of bed. I put some clothes on, and I sprinted all the way to the stadium, onto the field. Then I went on top of the rock and climbed the rock. And then I met up with this guy right here and the amazing broadcast crew at WASU FM. Shout out them once again for an amazing call. But halfway walking back to the station, I saw the duck pond. And you know what? I was like, you got to do it once. Hey. I jumped in there. So maybe the reason why I lost my voice is because of some curious substances in the water that we're not going to talk about. But everybody has to jump in the pond once, and I'm so glad that I did. But that's why I kind of sound like a wheezing dog on this podcast. But the game itself is great. Also, we've got a little bit of time here to talk about James Madison coming up. Guys, what do you think about James Madison?
Well, they're unproven. That's the only way to put it if you're us. They've played 2 games so far. They blew out Middle Tennessee, a Conference USA opponent. And then last week beat the brakes off Norfolk State, who's a FCS team. So we really don't know much about them. We know they're going to be good. Mm-hmm. That's all we can really confirm. Their quarterback Todd Centeo is a very good player, very mobile, can throw, pass, do whatever. But after last week, you learn you can't take anyone lightly, especially in this conference that's proven that they can hang with bigger teams. App State being one of those teams that has elevated their play, given the opponent. But App State's they got a lot of practice to do, a lot of work to do. A lot of talk was made about not taking the cheese or not performing as well with an inferior opponent coming into your stadium, and they still did that and won. So if they didn't take it last week, they certainly aren't this week.
Anything to add real quick, Nick?
Yeah, I was just going to say James Madison's a good team. In a lot of ways, they remind me of what we were, where we were a really competitive FCS team that is making the jump to FBS, and they haven't really played anybody so far, but they've been very competitive, and they've beaten up on teams they should beat. And I'm a little concerned about App State just after the crazy 3 weeks and with injuries to guys like Trey Cobb, Brendan Harrington, Nate Noel, and Cam Peoples.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add something real quick. JMU last 2 games, Middle Tennessee and Norfolk State. Now, guys, don't go anywhere because we'll be back to relive the crazy Saturday morning this past weekend in Boone. Welcome back to the A Game. Now, let's look back at the historic college game day this past weekend. A historic weekend for the High Country. I'm Noah C. Cornelius with App TV, and right behind me is ESPN College Game Day presented by Home Depot. They came up here after App State's historic upset versus Texas A&M, as you can see on my shirt. This was really impromptu. I'm not wearing my App TV polo or anything, but I'm repping my school. And that's what 500 students are going to be doing in 2 days' time as of recording this video. Here, 500 students in front of this stage. Over there at the auxiliary stage, wherever they can fit students, they'll be here at 5 a.m. getting ready to cheer on ESPN as they talk about App State. Meanwhile, the game itself, App State versus Troy, you know App State's gonna win. But follow us as we take you through the entire weekend of ESPN College Game Day at App State University.
I mean, but that shows you what kind of fans you got, and it shows you how crazy they are. And listen, we're a show that we like great football, but we also like great atmospheres. So we can get both now with App State. And here's what I like about App State. Nobody's asked this question yet, but I just love that it doesn't matter who the coach is. Like, you look at all the success with, top 10 competitive games, whether it's Tennessee and North Carolina early in the season, in the past, like, and you've beaten Michigan, beaten A&M, like, the culture hasn't changed. App State's still a big program that, you got paid $1.5 million to go kick the crap out of A&M. That's a good day at the office. So I think that's the most impressive part, is maintaining the culture even with coaching changes.
Because I think there's an excitement. There's and again, I don't say this from a condescending point of view or anything like that, but I think there's a sense of validation that fans feel when we show up here, and we're humbled by that. So I think they want to take the opportunity to showcase. We love our team too. It's not just Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia. We love our team too, and we support them, and we can create a great atmosphere too. So it's an opportunity for them to showcase that passion and excitement. We look forward to sharing that with them.
The App State women's soccer team beat the ULM Warhawks in the first game of conference play on Sunday, September 18th. The Mountaineers only played with 10 players during the last 41 minutes of regulation due to Katie Fuller having to leave the game. But ultimately, the Mountaineers pulled out the win. Freshman Shannon Studer scored the only goal for the Mountaineers in the 64th minute of the game with an assist from Izzy Luzardi. Goalie Carrie Eagleston recorded her 16th career shutout and 4th of the season. She also became the 4th person in program history to register 300 career saves. Offensively, the Mountaineers finished the game with a season-best 13 shots on goal and with a season-high 19 shots. Sophomore Stephanie Barbosa led the offense with firing all 3 of her shots on target. App State started conference play 1-0 for the first time since 2018. The team will be in Boone for the next game against Coastal Carolina on September 22nd at 6 p.m. for their Pack the MAC game.
The fall season has started for the men's golf team as 15 teams participated in the Joe Fugaines Marshall Invitational. App State was the team to beat as they led the 54-hole event with a 7-under team score of 845. On Monday in the first round, your Mountaineers set a program record for the lowest team round being 14 under 270, with true freshman Herman Hughes leading the way being 6 under 65.
App State field hockey traveled to Ohio this past weekend for their conference opener against Kent State. The game was scoreless for the first 3 quarters until Kent State scored 2 goals in the 4th. Grad student Frederick Stegen scored her 5th goal of the season with 3 minutes left in regulation to cut the Golden Flashes' lead in half. Stegen is also now tied for most points with 10 and goals with 5 in the Mid-American Conference. The score is expected to be low with 2 of the top goalkeepers in the MAC facing off in the conference opener, App State's being Addie Clark with 5 saves on the day. The Mountaineers will return home this Friday as they host CMU at 5 p.m.
Stay where you are, because after the break, we hear about our takes on NASCAR and the NFL. Welcome back to the A Game. Time to talk pro sports. Noah, you're the NASCAR guy. What happened during the NASCAR playoffs?
Thanks, Nick. And again, voice gone from the weekend, so we're going to do this the best I can. NASCAR, round of 12. Round of 16, actually, 4 drivers were eliminated, including 2 past NASCAR champions in Kyle Busch, 2-time champion, and Kevin Harvick, 1-time champion, but he was a 2-time winner this year. Also eliminated were both of Richard Childress Racing's drivers, Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, who's currently in a contract dispute and is supposed to drive for 23XI Racing. Also, interesting for Kyle Busch because Kyle Busch is taking Tyler Reddick's number and car next year. He's leaving Joe Gibbs, and Richard Childress just signed him. So now Tyler Reddick is in a lame duck spot. You know, presidential terms, all that stuff. Anyways, he's in a lame duck spot because he's leaving in 2024. But that's 2 years from now. So now he's going to be racing for a team that he's leaving in 2023. All that aside, Christopher Buescher, that's a nickname coined by Dale Jr., Christopher Buescher won the race for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. And it was the first win for Jack Roush and Roush Fenway Racing in 5 years. The last time they won a race was at Daytona in the summer of 2017. Christopher Buescher's not in the playoffs, so he's not eligible to go for the trophy, but this was big for him in his career because he had not won. Christopher Buescher had not won in 222 races. That's 6 years. Imagine wasting 6 years of your life.
Never give up, Noah.
Never give up, man, right? But no, so Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin from Joe Gibbs Racing are on to the next round. A lot of other drivers, Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, William Byron, all on to the next round. But curiously enough, there are also a lot of mechanical failures at Bristol Motor Speedway. Guys, imagine if you were driving your car and all of a sudden your power steering fails. So now you have to use all of your muscles to try and turn the car and you can't do it. Or imagine your wheel just falls off in the middle of driving to work. And now you're trying to keep the car straight. This is what these drivers have to go through every single week. And they have to not crash because they're going 180 miles per hour. So
yeah, I'd imagine the tire falling off thing is a little worse when you're in a NASCAR race and there's other cars going 180 miles an hour right behind you. But yeah, that sounds like tough conditions there in Bristol.
Right. And Jeff, would you rather be in a stock car with a wheel falling off or be the head coach of a failing NFL team?
That's a good coach. I think I'd be the head coach. We'll do that. But yeah, that's our transition here to the NFL segment here.
We did not plan that.
Yeah, we had 3 great games specifically this past Sunday. First, there was 2 games in the 1 o'clock window. The first one I want to talk about was insane, which was the Dolphins and Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. The Ravens had a 35-14 lead going into the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson was in prime Lamar Jackson mode. He ran for over 100 yards, threw for a couple of touchdowns.
They got to pay him, you know.
Yeah.
They have to pay him.
They're gonna have to find a way here soon. But either way, they have a huge lead going into the fourth. And Tua comes out of nowhere in the fourth quarter, throws 4 touchdowns.
Chase Bryce.
4 touchdowns. Tua, the guy that everyone hates on because they think his arm is weak, they think he's inaccurate, they think he's too small. He finally shows up and has a career-defining performance, 469 yards, 6 passing touchdowns against the Ravens. I want to talk about the receivers for the Dolphins in that game. Tyreek Hill over 190 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Waddle over 170 yards and a touchdown. The first pair of teammates to have 150 yards, 10 catches, and a touchdown in the same game.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good.
That offensive output is nuts. But either way, another crazy finish we had in the 1 o'clock hour was the Jets and Browns, which traditionally is a game that nobody wants to watch.
No one watches, yeah, no.
But a lot of people had their TV turned to that channel come the end of the game. The Jets scored a late touchdown, had an onside kick to try and maybe go the other way and score a touchdown. They recover it, and old Joe Flacco, he's still in the league, by the way, and he started for the Jets, and he drove the team down the field and threw a touchdown to the rookie Garrett Wilson to give the Jets the lead with a few seconds left. Garrett Wilson had a huge game. The rookie from Ohio State had 2 touchdowns, and the Jets went into Cleveland after the Browns had just beaten the Panthers the week prior, and they beat the Browns, who were an impressive team outside of the quarterback position right now. And then lastly, in the 4 o'clock games, Arizona and Las Vegas, just a crazy finish. Kyler Murray at the end of the game making play after play, running 85 yards, I think, on a single 2-point conversion to try and tie the game.
Bad number.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then they go down the field in overtime, they get stopped, and then the scoop and score, I believe is what it was, for the Cardinals to win it. We thought Byron Murphy may have dropped the ball before the goal line, but that was not the case. Just insane games all around the NFL in Week 3. And unfortunately, one of those was not the Panthers game. They look pretty terrible so far. Nick, can you tell us, how they have to figure this out?
All right, so the Panthers, they lost to the Giants 19-16. It is the NFL's leading streak of 9 straight losses dating back to last year. And the frustrating part about it is that we have the talent to be better, and our defense is playing well enough to win right now. Brian Burns had 2 sacks yesterday. J.C. Horn only allowed 1 catch for 4 yards. Shaq Thompson led the team with 10 tackles. They only gave up 16 points throughout the whole game. And some of that was strictly on the offense. Chuba Hubbard fumbled the opening kickoff, gave the Giants a free field goal. Robbie Anderson fumbled on a screen pass on 3rd and 22 where he had no shot to get the first down. Put the Giants in field goal position. They hit a field goal because, again, our defense is doing its job. But the offense, it has to get better. The offense made it into the red zone 4 times, and they had to kick 3 field goals. The passing offense was inefficient. Baker Mayfield couldn't even complete 50% of his passes. Some of that's not on him. Some of that involved drops. Some of that involved inconsistent offensive line play. Some of that even involved play calling. I don't understand how Shi Smith, who can be a good player, but how he gets more targets than Robbie Anderson and as many targets as DJ Moore. And they have the talent to be better. That's the frustrating part about it. Mayfield can be a good quarterback. DJ Moore has proven to be a very good wide receiver with subpar quarterback play. Even Robbie Anderson has proved to be a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
And of course, Christian McCaffrey actually played well.
He played well, yeah.
And he didn't get injured, so we can't blame him getting hurt.
Yeah,
but since Matt Rule has been the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, we are 1-25 in games where the defense has given up 17 points or more. 17.
You said 1-25?
1-25.
Can I leave? Can I take the mic off and leave now? I don't want to be in this conversation anymore. Oh my God.
The defense has been good. The defense has been good enough for the Panthers to be a legitimately good team. A good enough team to make the playoffs. But time and time again, the offense has let them down. And for Matt Rule's sake, for the Panthers' sake, they've got to figure it out. They are good enough to figure it out. I've seen the individual players play well over that time frame to where if it comes together, we can still have a good team. But I just have my doubts of whether or not that can happen. Just based on recent history, as I mentioned before, 1-25 in games where the defense has given up 17 or more points, and they have to figure it out. There's no excuse to go into the red zone 4 times and have to kick 3 field goals. You can't win football games playing like that at the NFL level.
I'm glad this discussion is over, because if we keep talking about how bad our Panthers are, I might just flip this table and leave.
We didn't even get to the coaching change possibility.
No, I don't. No, we're done.
Yeah.
Stay where you are. Stay where you are, because after the break, we'll hear about the start of your Mountaineers hockey team, and hopefully my voice will hold out.
Welcome back to the A Game. Now we'll hear from Carter Metzger about the start of the club hockey season for the Mountaineers.
We're here with Patty Casey after App State's 6-5 overtime win against Elon University here at Wake Competition Center. Patty,
Yeah.
Robbie Richter with an overtime beauty goal. What does he mean to this team?
Robbie Richter means filthy Genos. Robbie Richter means pluses. Robbie Richter means apples. That kid can wheel, that kid can snipe, and he sure can celly, I tell you what.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So that's 2 wins, 2 upset wins for App State today. App State football against Texas A&M, as well as App State hockey against a Division II Elon. What went into that? What's changed in this program in the last summer?
I say it's really all about the soul of the Near. You know what I'm saying? The Nears, they win. They don't lose. Upset or not. I don't care if we're the underdogs. We're going to win.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
We're here with Nick Wilcox after the App State's 3-3 tie to Elon University here in Greensboro. Nick, this team lost to Elon 8-1 last year, and we just tied them 3-3. What do you think went into that?
I think a lot went into it. A lot of the work behind the scenes over the summer, building the roster, putting our schedule together. Even the effort on the ice from the boys this year has been great. Obviously, we didn't come away with the win, but I could not be prouder of our effort today.
That's great to hear. Special teams was a big part of the game. 2 5-on-3 goals allowed App State to crawl back from a 3-1 deficit to tie the game 3-3. Can you talk a bit about power play and penalty kill?
Yeah, absolutely. We found ourselves on the power play quite a bit this game and equally killing off some penalties. And I just think we did a really great job in either scenario to stay composed, to play our game. And, it worked for us. We got 2 goals out of it. And, couldn't be happier.
You had over a 40-save performance tonight against Elon. What do you think that has changed in App State's defense to allow you to succeed like that?
Well, our cohesion this year in terms of player to player, in terms of the skill level is it's on a whole new level this year, and I couldn't be more happier with my D tonight. 40 saves for me, but at the end of the day, it's a big team effort, and I wouldn't be able to have 40 if the D man in front of me weren't doing their job, taking care of business.
Right on. Well, this has been Nick Wilcox after App State's 3-3 tie against Elon University.
Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of the A Game. And make sure to keep following us for all your sports news.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the A Game Sports and to check out App TV on YouTube. See you next week.